Hey guys, it's Mad Morta, and this is my most recent custom console that I did. I mentioned a while back that I was going to be doing more videos on these as I make them, and I think another thing I'm going to mention in the videos is what I did that was new on that project, something I haven't done before, because for each of my projects I try to integrate something that I haven't tried before, and I think that's a really good way to think outside the box and learn new things. So for this, it was actually putting these gargoyles on. I tried combining an object that I bought at the store with my custom molded object, which is the brick. So these gargoyles I got a while back from the dollar store, and the brick is Durham's Rock Hard Water Putty, which I got at Ace Hardware for $3. $3, the $3 can did this whole thing, in case you're wondering how long it lasts. One small can does the whole console. And while I'm talking about the water putty, I want to mention that if you're doing something like this, what you should not do is slather it on and then try to make slits. You have to individually make it into little rolls, just like you would with Play-Doh, and then put them on and squish them down a little bit. So another new thing that I tried in this that I haven't tried before is to not paint the entire console, which is actually really interesting and I think had really good results. So since it's the Super Nintendo and it's kind of old, the stickers have a little bit of wear and tear. On this sticker here, there's a little bit of a cut in the sticker, or a small rip right there where my thumb is. And I was worried that if I peeled that off, it might rip the label, and then I'd only have 2 of my 3 labels. So what I did was I was counting on the gray that I used for the undertone of my brick to be a similar enough gray to the Super Nintendo's gray that I wouldn't have to actually paint the bottom. So you can't tell, but this ridged part right here is actually spray painted gray, and the bottom is not spray painted at all, and you cannot tell the difference between the two. The two colors are exactly the same. So I think that had really good results, and I think that I'll try to do that more in the future, because taking labels off of something and putting them back on and making them look nice is actually much more difficult than you would think. And a lot of the times you have to super glue the corners down to keep it from curling back up, because they like to curl. So I also reused the technique that I tried in my Game Boy Macro, which was to make a custom label, and I put the Super Castlevania 4 logo right where the Super Nintendo Entertainment System logo was on the SNES. And for those of you who didn't see the other video, this is a label that I downloaded, or a logo that I downloaded, printed out onto label paper, which is basically a giant sticker which you can buy at Office Depot or Staples, stores like that. It's for packages, and you just print it out, and then I put clear packing tape over it so that it has a nice glossy feel, and it'll also protect it in case it gets a little bit wet. If you drop some water on it, it's not going to soak through. And it makes it a little bit stiffer, a little bit firmer, and makes it look a little bit less like you just printed some paper out and stuck it on. Then I stuck it on here, and I actually super glued the corners down, because that way it's not going anywhere. It's not just relying on the adhesive on the back, it's also super glued down, which is a lot more solid, and it's going to keep it where it is. All of these buttons are metallic black with Rust-Oleum paint. And then the red on the writing and in the dots here is a Posca pen. It's a red Posca pen, and it's the fine point, I think. If you're going to get Posca pens and you're going to be doing anything about this size, I recommend at least extra fine. Fine is like a regular Sharpie, extra fine is a little bit smaller than a Sharpie, and then ultra fine's like a fine Sharpie. So for reference, that's what those are like. But you can get really cool stuff that is difficult to do otherwise. It's much easier than a paintbrush or something like that. So After I did the Posca pen on top of the metallic black, I clear coated all of these with the extra high quality paint. It's called, I use Testers for handhelds, for controllers, and for buttons, stuff that's going to have a lot of wear and tear, stuff like that. And it gives it a really smooth, nice feel. And it's also very difficult to scratch. It's super hard. So I use it for things that are going to wear down a lot more. Like, for example, the cartridge slot is going to have a lot of wear and tear as you put the cartridge in and take it out. And this is going to have a lot of wear and tear as you move it up and down. And maybe this if you use that. So the parts that you touch a lot, like the controller ports as you try to put your controller in, those, in my opinion, require a higher quality of clear coat to protect it just a little bit more. So I use the more expensive stuff. And like I said, it's called Testers, which is spelled with an O. And it's amazing. So I believe that's it for this video on the Super Nintendo. And thank you guys for watching.